welcome back to the desk ahead of the last game of regular season Winter in the LEC Vitality versus Xerxe. Nothing at stake here except locking top 1 or top 2 for G2 Alliance.
And for Xerxe, it's locking 1 win or it's locking 2 wins, okay? This is everything.
I'm kind of wondering what kind of preparation they have coming in today. Is it the kind of the game where you want to have fun, or it's a statement game for sure? You want to end the season on a good note, right?
They haven't really had much chance to have fun this split so far. It's been a tough one. We talked about it for Fnatic being kind of like lots of good players, but they're not really working together, which is such a shadow of what this specific matchup was last year. This time last year, it was the first round matchup in spring playoffs. It was a 5-game series. It was crazy. I was casting that. I enjoyed that. It was one of my first casts in the LEC. I've got fond memories of it. This is not going to be a fun memory for Xerxe because obviously they're crashing out of the regular season. But you know, just thinking of how things have come, how far they've come from then to now in the negative direction, puts things in perspective.
Okay, but hear me out. Silver linings. We've been used in the history of League of Legends, LEC, and everything to see teams thriving and actually putting out win when we expect them the least, because when they play with no pressure, usually this is when stuff happens. So is that going to be the case here?
Look, Elyoya just came on the desk and said with the certified Elyoya guarantee, Xerxe are going to take this one. Who am I to argue with a championship jungler? I don't know. I could see it happening.
Hopes? No hopes?
I'm hoping they both have fun and it's an entertaining matchup for everyone involved.
I'm hoping to
positivity.
Have fun. Fans at home have fun as well. Let's focus a bit on Vitality here. Huge improvements when you think of the team last year. They came in with the super team memes, didn't come out so well for them. Bo was a big question mark because we knew how successful the player was in solo queue mostly, but he had this reputation of solo queue jungler in the playstyle that he has, but Vitality has been one of the strongest teams so far.
Because if we're going to talk about, you know, the whole from then to now kind of narrative for Xerxe has kind of trended down, holy heck, you know, Vitality in a potential top 2 position. They haven't done that for a great many years. Talked about that a number of times this weekend. And one of the things for me is, you know, look, we've mentioned the super team thing a lot last year. We're not going to do that again. But one of the big downfallings of the Vitality roster of last year was particularly their jungle support and kind of like connections between those two was basically non-existent. They changed junglers throughout the year, which helped somewhat, but it didn't really recover things for the team. I think Bo and Kaiser, they've really come together in really, really good form. And that is that's good backbone for any roster. I think when you're looking at top tier teams, normally does start with jungle support.
And this is what I think when you think of the side of Xerxe, also maybe what has been missing. We knew what Xerxe was able to do with Astralis. We knew what did I miss something on stage here? No,
there was just a little microphone assistance there from player to player.
It's like, hey, how can I freak you out? I'm going to look at the screen and just see if you react.
Well, I did. Got baited here. But yeah, maybe that's what's been missing on the side of Xerxe. Not seeing the synergy that I was hoping to see between Targamas and Xerxe. I want to stay on Vitality though, because
that's the positive side.
Because that's the positive side, but also Neon, who was largely underestimated last year when he was playing for Misfits, I think this year proved his worth in the LEC and what he was capable of.
Yeah, Neon's a funny one because I felt like that was the conversation with Neon last year. He's like, oh, maybe it's like underrated from a crowd perspective, but you ask like any pro player and they're like, yeah, Neon's actually pretty sick down in the bot lane. You know, he's looking strong, and yeah, I think he's stepped up really nicely on the team. Him and Kaiser look very solid down towards the bot side, but I think it's actually sad for Neon again because his top side has so much hype around them, right? Perkz, Bo, Photon as well, also looking fantastic towards the top side of the map. So I hope that he doesn't go under the radar from a fan perspective again, because of just how much the top side of the map has captured the attention of people.
It's almost like that happened with Vetheo last year. It's almost like he was a really good carry behind, you know, Vetheo when he was on such a good string of form. And Vetheo sadly obviously hasn't really been able to replicate that here, but it does mean that someone like Neon can kind of step out onto their own a little bit more. And of course, you know, as you were saying, pro players, analysts, we all rated him very highly. But on like a fan perspective now, this is now like over a year's worth of actually very consistent performances outside of just a Jinx of Aphelios meta. Neon has consistently put up good numbers.
Small information for the viewers at home. No one heard that, Ender. It's fine. We have a small game delay due to peripheral issues. League officials are investigating and trying to solve the issue. At the moment, we will be loading the game shortly, but let's take a step back because we have a bit of time on the state of the league now that we have the 8 teams that would reach the group stage. surprises, of course, when you think of Xerxe dropping out and Fnatic dropping out. But how high is the level in the LEC right now when you think of the teams that made it through?
How high is the level?
That's a good question.
That's a great question, because it's like usually we'd have this conversation after 18 games, right? And now we've only got 9. I think that the top side of the league, definitely, I'm like very excited. I think G2 got me excited very early on. Mad Lions have been carrying that as well. Vitality, the other team, basically all the teams at the top of the league. But at the same time, we've had the big standouts in SK and BDS that also just came and shocked. So I think I'm going to stop talking because we're ready to go.
I'm sorry. Production was talking to me. It's fine because the game is finally ready. We are ready to toss to the casters. Quickshot and Dagda. Let's get ready for the last game of Winter Split regular season.
Thank you so much, Laure. Welcome back to the caster desk for the last regularly scheduled game of the winter season. Team Vitality looking to lock in that #1 seed with a win. If they do that, Mad Lions take second, SK drop to third. If Xerxe surprise and take down Vitality, that'll mean Mad Lions first, SK second, and Vitality third. So the ability to pick your opponent in round 1 of groups, that is what Vitality are playing for.
I mean, it would be a very, very nice cherry on top to what has been a great split for Vitality, but we'll have to see how it starts to go. Already finding away that Maokai. I mean, we've seen Bo play it once, didn't really have a great idle time on it, so going to take that one away. Xerxe looking at trying to target that bot side of the map for Vitality.
I mean, Vitality have had a renaissance of sorts in terms of their performance this winter. They're able to take that top seed. It's exactly what Bo and Perkz were looking to do. And let's be honest, Xerxe have had a very, very difficult time. They have been eliminated from the group stage. Sometimes when teams have nothing left to lose, they are sometimes the most dangerous. What will their priorities here in draft be? Lucian, Elise, Sejuani, Maokai taken out of the pool so far. Yuumi, Zeri, Ryze, still all big picks that are options.
Yeah, Draven going to be taken off the board here, trying to make sure that they're not going to have any sort of hyper-aggressive bottom lanes for Patrik and Targamas. But, I mean, as you say, Ryze still available, Heimer's still there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ryze going towards Perkz. He has favored that, and it just sets up for a really nice mid-jungle, which is where Vitality have been most potent.
And, of course, Vitality, every single member of their roster has had different highlight moments throughout the course of this winter split. I think Photon in particular yesterday, definitely stepping up. And for this first pick, currently leaning on that Zeri. We'll lock that in for Neon. He's played it twice. This split already, 1-1, lost 1.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're not getting some of the higher priority on towards the Ryze and that kind of stuff, because it feels like here you go for a Ryze Vi coming through for Xerxe and Vetheo, great setup. Also something that can lock down the Zeri quite easily. Now, even if you want to, you could go and take away the Yuumi, lock in a Vi, or Yuumi Vi as well, but going in a completely opposite direction, just going to take the Jax for themselves instead.
I mean, I think when you put yourself in Vitality's shoes, the players that you want to keep a lid on or contain, I think is going to be Patrik and Targamas. I think when you look at the upper half of the map and Vetheo a little bit late to living up to his expectations, denying that Draven in ban, picking up that Zeri, preventing Patrik from locking it in. And of course, if you think back to the Misfits Zeri games last year, Neon had phenomenal performances on that particular champion. What will Kaiser run next to it? Because he knows at least he's facing into that Varus.
Yeah, I mean, a Vi and something like the Yuumi are probably going to be your best bet. I'm just surprised they're giving Bo across his Vi. Like, even yesterday you could see like 0-8 still having a massive impact on that pick. So I think something like the Vi would just be such a good block here, and especially when you pair it with the Yuumi, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
Well, definitely secured for Bo. As far as those Vi performances have worked out, won all 3 of his respective games on the champion. So Targamas, you would anticipate probably locking in a support here, lock in the match for match. We know that Jax going to be running in the top lane then for Odo. What does Photon want to run into it? And for Xerxe, how hard are they going to push Vitality today? They're looking to play spoiler and to deny them that top seed and lock in the Wukong as an answer.
Yeah, I think this is where, if you're Vitality, you start to ban away supports. I thought they might try and go for something like a Karma or something that can go for a bit of a pushing lane, punish Neon and Kaiser at the early stages, but opting instead to get Xerxe into a good matchup with the Wukong. So you've got decent team fight you can set up here. You can make sure that you're able to try and plant yourself with Odoamne in that side lane as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see Odo getting some early pressure coming through from the Wukong. The big question mark for me though is, what does Photon want to try and play into this on the top side? Because Photon, as we kind of seen, has quite a wide champion pool. And I'm wondering if we get something that's a little bit spicy up there, maybe something like even a Fiora that we haven't really seen a lot of teams pull out effectively.
No, not too many. And I mean, in the 110, 150 games that I do see from Photon, Gwen, Gnar, Renekton, Sedge, Camille, like it's very diverse. A lot of champions and he has played in the past. As far as Excel's priorities, they banned away that Cassante. The Azir was denied to Perkz, who's played that 3 of his respective games thus far, and Targamas will be denied that Nautilus. One last ban here for Vitality before Excel start to piece together the final pieces. One would assume support lock in here, give the counter pick to Vetheo, and then see what Vitality do to round out their comp, as Cassio will be the final ban.
So basically this says to me that Vitality want to try and set themselves up for a Ryze pick and are basically calling out Vetheo saying, hey, are you going to pick this? Because we haven't seen Vetheo go for it thus far. It's actually been one of the most banned by XL as well, with 63% of the games that's banned. And now, there, Vetheo will actually lock it in. So now the question for me is what Perkz wants to go answer, because Azir, Cassio, a lot of the traditional answers that we've seen have already been taken off the board.
And I am way off the tempo of picks and bans today. Another surprise, you mentioned it. For Vetheo, 200 games played, only 9 of them have been on Ryze. Not something we've seen too often. He has won 6 of those picks. And Vitality now have to round out their team composition. We'll lock in that Gragas for Photon in the top lane. It is one of his top 5 most played picks.
This does feel like an Orianna angle for Perkz, honestly. Like, good push against the Ryze. No, it's cool traditional counter. Plus, you get the setup coming through from Vi with the Ori ult included. Plus, even a Gragas lobbing himself in there just to make things interesting. But actually going to go for the Taliyah. So, looking instead of to try and push the Ryze in and be the one that actually makes those moves first.
Seeing a lot more Taliyah through the course of this weekend. Maybe picking up some popularity, and Targamas will be locking in that Pyke. Okay, zoom out. Both compositions, how do they win?
I mean, the big one for XL is, look, we want to try and play through side lanes. You've got this Pyke, get him out of the bot lane early, play through mid, then start to get Ryze active on the map. Whereas when you look across the Vitality, it's straight up team fights. A lot of this is going to be a case of Neon and Perkz being those big late game damage dealers. Great a frontline and engage, even disengage as well with Photon on that Gragas. So a lot of this is going to be a case of, can XL get that early lead, or can Vitality power through to that late game team fight?
Somewhat mirroring the previous game, Mad Lions and G2. For XL, I do think the combination of Pyke plus, well, frankly, anything is terrifying, but there's a lot of pressure then to ensure that the waves are managed within the lane that can unlock Targamas either to go hunting or to find those picks.
And that's where it is going to come down to poke Varus, just AFK, clearing waves all the time, and letting Targamas go and do his thing. I wouldn't be surprised, as you say, to see early jungle pressure there, just to try and help out in that regard.
Well, we do have a moment or two to chat longer, because due to a player bathroom emergency, we will have a small delay before we jump into our last game of the Winter Split. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the day. Once the games are concluded, we will also set up for the group stage draw. I'll explain all the rules a little bit later, but basically, you finish first or second in the pools, you get to pick your opponent from pool 3 or 4.
Sorry, I was laughing. I said, the Varus is going to be AFK. Patrik literally went to AFK, so I was just sorry, but I do agree.
Level analysis, my friend.
Look, a huge amount on the line here, as you say. I mean, for the fact for Vitality to be able to come in as strong as they were, this was one of the teams most hyped, and I think even jokingly was said to, you kind of look at Vitality this every time they come in, they look like an incredible team on paper, and then you got to move them down 2 tiers when you actually see them at the end of the split. This is a Vitality that has broken all those standards, and I'm so excited to see what they can do if they secure the first place here and we do get into that bracket stages.
The thing that's very interesting to me is, if anybody's seen the Reddit thread, the LEC Circle of Suck, which is hilarious, by the way, so many of our top tier teams have conceded games in either surprising or shocking manners. We've seen the middle of the table teams really stepping up. I think BDS, Astralis, SK surprising. I think SK in particular, the standout star here in Winter. The real thing that I'm intrigued to see is how far does that development go once we get to the best of 3s? Do they have the depth to adapt within the series? And like, what else are we going to see from Drop? We're going to be in a new patch, different sort of approach to the game, and there are some pretty significant changes coming next week.
I think the really interesting part is that apart from like one or two teams, there's very clear issues in their games. When you look and you kind of go, okay, well, these are areas where they're class nails, by the way, sorry, but there's very clear ways that you can exploit this team, whether it's their objective setup, whether it's the way they play side lanes. There are plenty of different ways that you can look to exploit them. So I'm curious to see how well these teams can do their homework, how well they can adapt to that, because obviously when you look at a lot of the veterancy that's in LEC, they're well capable of it, but there are so many newer players that are now pushing towards those upper echelons. This is where they're going to really be tested when we do get to those best of stages.
I mean, that's also presuming that the read and the approach is going to be spot on. If you are just joining us, we do have a brief pause as we had a player just stepping off stage to run to the loo. We'll get into game in a moment, but I think, Dagda, I do want to highlight and praise that, like, during the week 1 to week 2 transition, we were looking at the likes of SK and BDS, looking at how they approached some of the early game, looking at how they were anti-stratting, as you might say in different games, their opponents. That is also going to be very intriguing because you have to do that between game 1 and 2, between game 2 and 3 in a best of series. You don't have a full week to prep.
It's also just how much we've seen these teams improving week on week, right? When you look at SK in particular, week 1, I'm not going to lie, hadn't rated them. Was honestly like, okay, cool, this is not going to be the best time for SK, especially for such a bot lane that was hyped coming into the league, but they looked incredible and they've improved week on week. Now what happens when we get to that following stage? Same when you look at BDS, I mean, Adam on an absolute tear in that top side at the moment, and even down to teams like Astralis. Like, I think this is a team that you can see clear indications of how they are improving, setting up early vision, looking for these early picks, playing around that vision for objectives. There is consistent improvement across all these teams in the LEC, and I think a lot of people kind of dismiss it at the moment because they're like, oh, well, you know, Fnatic isn't playing well, or Excel aren't playing well, and these have some of the top talents individually that the LEC has to offer, but I think it's too easy to brush aside that we're actually seeing major improvements from the teams that traditionally we'd see at the bottom of the LEC.
And the thing is as well, it's a heavy sprint, right? Yeah. There's not a lot of time. So if you are just joining us, the players are all on stage. They are quickly rerunning the picks and bans. And once that is completed, we will load up onto Summer's Rift for our final game of the winter regular season. And again, just a reminder here, if Vitality win, they secure first, Mad Lions second, and SK third. If XL surprise everyone, Mad Lions will take the first seed, SK second, and Vitality will drop down to third. So there is stakes on the line here. Vitality absolutely want to pick up that win, so they have the choice of opponents going into that first best of 3 in groups.
And it's been, especially for Vitality, I'm curious to see how they do perform there, right? Because we've kind of got Photon and Bo coming across for the first time. We've seen how potent these guys can be. Both Photon, I think, have been a little bit underrated, honestly, coming into the split. And we saw his Gwen performance yesterday be the reason Vitality were able to pick up that win, even with the fact Bo went 0-8. So there's a huge amount for them to prove.
Let me give you some quick stats on Photon. Damage per minute, 586, first for top laners. Damage percentage, 24, second for top laners. Gold difference, third for top laners. CSD, positive, second for top laners. You want to talk about underrated? The kid is popping off, but there's so many people around him that are also popping off. You don't get a chance to talk about it.
I mean, even most kills of any top laner right now. This guy has been absolutely incredible. I'm so excited to see how he continues to grow, because I know a lot of people that were familiar with Challengers Korea were looking at this guy coming over, and I know even more of the people were looking at guys like Ilima as well over there. So I think there's a depth of talent here that we're only starting to scratch the surface of, and Bo is very quickly revealing just how good he is.
I cannot wait to see the matchups into the likes of Broken Blade or Adam and see how that plays out. Right, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, I can tell you the game is now loading up. We are moments away from hitting Summoner's Rift. I'm going to take a shot here. Berlin, who thinks Vitality will win? That's what I thought. Let's start the Summoner's Rift for Vitality versus XL. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Dagda, I'm going to ask you just to quickly give a refresher on how you anticipate these drafts to play out and who you want to see making the first moves in the lane phase.
So I think a huge amount of this for XL is a case of, can we get the ball rolling early? Because your team fighting is just comparatively so much weaker to Vitality. You want to be trying to play through 1-3-1, and Targamas will be spotted as he's trying to get that vision down so they have a better idea of what Bo's up to. Because you want to play around boss, get Xerxe involved, unlock Targamas, and then start becoming a menace on the map with this jungle support duo.
Means the vision and also the timing on when to push and move from those lanes will be very important. Neon, as well as Kaiser, have been able to have a huge impact this winter. And they've got the duo that can definitely take over the game. I'm also intrigued to see how Perkz decides to play this Taliyah in the mid lane. We were kind of anticipating or expecting potentially an Odoamne if they're playing for team fights. Instead, another Taliyah pick. He's got himself the spellbook, so we'll be able to swap that out for TP as well as use that Weaver's Wall. Maybe try to match either the Realm Warp or try to push one of these side lanes ahead.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where you kind of need to... It's almost like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right? Get Targamas into play, then Vetheo can start to kind of answer back by playing around Patrik. Now, I did think it would be the poke Varus on this bottom side, but Patrik actually opting in for the on-hit version here again, so won't be able to clear the waves as easily, but makes you more effective here.
Well, that Bone Skewer, as well as the Hail of Blades trade onto Neon is gigantic. Potions being burned through as both Patrik and Neon chunked out. And Targamas stepping forward again and again and again, looking for those opportunities.
And the fact as well that you got the longsword 3-pot for Patrik means he just gets to out-sustain Neon in these scenarios as well. Now, obviously, having the Yuumi will help out as she'll be able to proc you back up, but just in these initial few levels, will give Patrik that push as Odo having push on topside as well. Will Xerxe start to look for these invades, look to try and get into the face of Bo because he's got both these pushing side lanes?
I mean, I do think some pressure there on this Wukong. Try to unlock the lanes that you have. Xerxe waiting for the cooldowns. W 10 seconds away. Can step forward. The Rune Prison is available here for Vetheo. Ghosted up for Perkz. Flash used too, and a crushing blow comes forward. No summoners used, but 2 secured. And all of a sudden here comes Bo looking for those denting blows. Decoy has been used. Crushing out as well. Down below, 200, flashed away. Support coming from Targamas. Dashing, flashing, getting the kill.
I mean, that was just overstepping from Bo massively there. You know that Perkz can help you out. He's not able to have the health bar, the mana bar to do anything. He's still low and he's still sticking around. This could be a continuation from XL.
Targamas, level 2. He's got double buffs as well. Managing to pick up that kill is actually very crucial in my eyes. If he can continue to work with Xerxe and the rest of the lanes, Perkz running completely out of mana now.
Xerxe needs to start this. He's the only one with flash.
Gonna dash over the wall, looking for the skewer, pulls Perkz backwards. Xerxe gets another 4XL.
And this is what we're talking about, getting Targamas out of that bot lane twice now. He's been involved in the plays, and twice they've resulted in kills. I mean, if XL want to cause an upset, this is how you start it.
And this is exactly what you wanted to see from the team and for the composition. It is definitely quicker than I was anticipating. But Targamas comboing there with Xerxe. We do have a brief pause. Give you some updates as soon as I hear it. How scared do you start to feel for Vitality?
Sorry. I've got to just take a step back. I'm feeling oddly uncomfortable on the camera, but like, actually, it is a little bit of a worry, right? Because I think having this bot lane already starting to roam, getting the support out, getting those kills for the mid lane is going to get Vetheo into a really good spot. He's going to get to crash this wave. He's going to start to get a position. And I think one of the fundamental problems that I've seen with XL in a lot of ways is Vetheo, when he was on Misfits, was incredibly good when he got played around. And you'd eventually see him have these pop-off moments. When we look at the first 2 weeks, Vetheo hasn't really been getting any of those resources. This week has been the first time we've seen it, and this week is when we're getting glimpses of that Vetheo of old. So the fact now we're getting almost like not a double down, like a triple down on playing around Vetheo, I'm hoping that maybe we get to see XL kind of bow out in style here.
And of course, if any team would be more likely to drop a game in a surprising fashion, I would almost always predict whatever team Perkz is playing on to be that specific situation. Look, they are down around 1,400 gold, and I didn't get to ask Berlin, who thinks XL will win this game? It's a little bit unfair when they've got a couple of kills under their belt already, and we are in the pause. But obviously, very, very good start for them. I don't yet have an update for you on the pause. As soon as I do know, I will share it with you. And for now, unfortunately, we do need to just keep looking at the stakes here because Mad Lions and SK are definitely hoping for an XL surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it'll make things a hell of a lot more interesting as well, especially for Vitality that kind of been boasted up a lot in both fan sentiment and probably me as well, because I'm a big fan of this team, to be honest. I think it's so sick the way they play. It's super interesting to see, especially when you look at like the sixth sense that Bo seems to have in when it comes to setting up plays, where he'll always be aware of like where vision is, how we can try to play around Perkz. But I think that's almost confidence to go for plays that people often don't think about can also come back to bite them. I think that's exactly what we've seen at the start of this game as well, where Bo is like, oh, well, I can probably catch someone off guard here. The fact that the Wukong doesn't have any real abilities open for off a cooldown, maybe I can punish Xerxe. Comes back to bite them. So I think it's a case of like almost getting Vitality to get some manners put onto them is going to actually help them coming into this bracket stage.
Also, the thing is, you do have to be able to punish those mistakes, have the confidence, you know, be in position to do so. I think specifically as Bo was caught out in the river, Targamas was there so quickly, you know, had already roamed, was already applying pressure onto the Neon and Kaiser, so it allowed him to jump up into that lane. Let's stop for a brief moment, step away. I'm not certain how much longer we will be pausing, but I just want to tell everybody at home as well that the bottom 5 teams in groups are secured in their placements. So Koi in 7th, Astralis 8th, BDS 5th, Heretics 6th, and G2 sitting in 4th. Those positions will not change. What that means, BDS, Heretics, Koi, and Astralis are the teams that are on the chopping block to be selected as opponents from our Pool 1 seeds. And that's going to be particularly interesting as and when we lock in those Pool 1 seeds. And luckily, I have just heard that we're loading back up onto the Rift. So apologies again for that pause. If you're just joining us, XL, fantastic start to the game. They're up 1,300 gold, and they're looking to deny Vitality that top seed.
Yeah, I mean, Photon getting good damage here. Odo looking to turn around, but won't be able to land the counter-strike. But right now, I'm actually keeping my eyes on where Vi is going, because Bo is immediately running up towards this top side, knowing that Odo has gone a little bit too far forward here.
Yeah, he has, and Photon low on mana, still comfortable enough to keep trading. And keep an eye on that bottom lane. Targamas, remember, has got himself the double buffs. He's starting to step backwards, and while that's happening, Bo is making his way to the top lane. Looking for that hook, will be sidestepped, and Odo was able to back away in time. Patrik, however, getting chunked up by that burst fire, being burned down very, very low.
Yeah, the problem here for Odo, though, is he has to reset. Now he's got to TP back into the top. Patrik taking very low here. Targamas wants to go for more.
Look for the skewer, look for the skewer, gets the skewer onto the cat. But Kaiser is going to be able to yip back in just a moment. Exhaust thrown out as Patrik's below 150. Kaiser continues to run for his life, hops aboard. Neon, who's now going to use that summoner heal, forced to flash away from the next skewer. There's no support from the rest of Vitality, but Photon's got that teleport available if XL go for the dive.
And that's why he's walking back to top. Knows the wave isn't in a position where he has to worry about it, so going to hold on to that one. Level 6, very close to coming in this mid lane as well now, so a lot of these summoner spells that have just been burned can be punished in just a minute's time.
And it's all Targamas, baby, continually looking for those skewers. Finding Kaiser and then following it up onto Neon. All 4 summoner spells blown for Vitality's bottom lane. And look, he's moving again. Got those Swifties already. Looking for Perkz. No flash available to him. Perkz this time round should be able to step back far enough to avoid the CC.
So I think what we're going to see from Xerxe is Vetheo reset here, move back into mid lane, immediately try and clear mid, and then try and work towards some sort of dive on bot side. Has hit the level 6, has Targamas unlocked where he's able to support him in a lot of ways, but I mean, look at the bot side, like Neon, no summoners, Kaiser, no summoners. This is when they're very vulnerable. Even Bo not having a summoner spell available for the moment as well. This is the moment where you can try and make that play happen.
And this is exactly what XL need to keep doing. Apply that pressure, generate a larger lead, and then start to unlock that potential 1-3-1. You've got the Jax, you've got the Ryze, be able to play the map, and if you have them backed up by that Pyke or even the Wukong, it unlocks a lot. I mean, look at this. Once again, Targamas making his way to lane a little bit late. Patrik was able to shove the wave in, and Xerxe just about making his way to this bottom lane. There's still a fair amount of experience away from that Cyclone, so won't have it available.
But this is what we're talking about. Vetheo on the way. Now you got the Wukong there as well. Flashes aren't here. Xerxe can look to punish.
Who is the target? Who is the target? Targamas stepping forward, waiting for that skewer to be charged. Fires it and will not connect with Neon up in the top lane. Odo gets bopped back under the tower. Photon gets the body slam forward. Flash is available for both. The dive in the bottom lane is not over yet as Targamas misses the Q and is forced to dive his way to safety. The minions are starting to be cleared out underneath the tower, and XL cannot find themselves another kill. Do they stick around longer as once again the skewer goes wide?
Perkz is trying to answer. He's trying to look for the cross map though. Massive wave loss for Vitality's bot side and a plate. They need to get something back on that top side, but Odo has reset. Photon should just be able to get a tower and a bit of that CS back in his own favor.
Pick up that plate, close that gold difference. Marginally ahead, I think, because of that plate. The dragon will be secured by XL, however. So despite the kills not being picked up, they get themselves the neutral objective. Targamas, Q, sidestepped once again. Neon and Yuumi doing work to avoid those, and the dragon is now finally picked up. So XL, still ahead in gold. They've got that neutral objective. But Targamas not being able to find those bone skewers means they don't get more kills.
Perkz has push in mid as well, so Bo is trying to see if he can set up for this Rift Herald on the opposite side, but I don't really know if they can do this, especially as Odo has shove in top, so need to be very quick off the mark, but Xerxe has gone back down towards his bot side, so looks like it will be a trade on opposite sides, and this is kind of where Vitality have set a lot of their pacing, is getting these early Rift Heralds and then trying to use them in towards the top side for Photon, or trying to unlock Perkz in the mid lane, and I think in this scenario with Photon being on a, I mean, he's going AP Gragas, but still kind of your front line, I think trying to unlock Perkz is going to be the better call.
Yeah, and of course, for Photon is going to be integral to buying time once the XL members start to collapse in the skirmishes. I think Jax, Wukong, Ryze, even the Pyke, they really do want to kind of death ball into you. We're a while away from that. 9 minutes in, and the tower being chunked away as Patrik. He took a lot of damage once Targamas backed a few moments ago. Right now, Targamas setting up wards inside Vitality's jungle, stepping to chase down Perkz once more. Fires out the bone skewer, and once again, it is easily sidestepped. So not being able to find those hooks, but the pressure that's being applied keeps Vitality on the defensive, keeps them on the back foot.
Just get the ghosts, which is pretty nice as well, making sure that Perkz can't roam towards those side lanes as quickly as he'd like. But I think, I mean, Perkz has been struggling at times when he gets a lot of pressure towards the mid lane, so I like how he is playing this very safe and not allowing targets kills.
Yeah, Neon's going to be able to use that spark, hop over the wall. He's just hit himself level 6. Patrik with a small advantage. Xerxe this time around looking in the top lane. 1-0-1. Photon's got the flash. He's already used the ulti. Now will be the target of Xerxe. Look at the mini-map. Vetheo is making his way up as well. Flash as well as body slam. How far do they chase? The Realm Warp should deliver. Vetheo, fire out. EQ, W, and easily secured. Third kill for XL.
And great patience from XL. Xerxe doesn't burn the flash, the Cyclone to try and get in on top of them. Good communication with Vetheo to make sure that he could get into position. Even Targamas is mid to try and clear out the wave, which is why we see Patrik immediately leaving his bot tower alone, knowing he would have been the victim of all the ire that Vitality built up there. That was a sentence and a half I screwed up.
I like it. The victim of the ire from Vitality. This time around, Bo, as well as the bottom lane, will drop that Herald, try to chunk down the plates. Patrik has got support. Xerxe, as well as Targamas, making their way down. For the time being, Bo hasn't been able to find an impact. Cease and desist. Fired onto Targamas. The chapter's been lost, and this route will come in. Neon picks up the first for Vitality, and now they've got to back away. Vetheo and Xerxe stepped into the river, but they won't find the opportunity.
It was spotted by Perkz, so Perkz knew exactly what was happening, which is why we saw Vitality hightailing it away from there. Still, nice job from Vitality to get some of these kills, and this is honestly the problem with Vitality. They just never seem to give up, but they might have to give up the red.
Oh, no! Bo! He's been jumped on! Exhausted's gonna save his life for now, but the burn, tick, 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 and Bo will escape with his life. Kaiser forced to use the sums.
I mean, good job from Xerxe to get into the face of Bo. knowing he had the advantage on the push and mid, making sure it was fine. And thank you, observers, as well, for pointing out just the red ward there to make sure that you can spot exactly what's happening. So again, XL getting in the face of Xerxe, and I think teams have started to look at Bo and go, hey, can we punish Bo in the jungle? Can we make sure that we can take out what has been the superstar jungler added to Vitality? And we saw it yesterday, wasn't enough. XL want to see if they can do it this time, though.
Well, they're using that Pyke in combination with either the Wukong or the Ryze, and it's been almost a non-stop offensive. I mean, Targamas again, what, third, fourth time roaming into the middle lane. Unfortunately for him this time round, not going to be able to find an opportunity, and will find himself facing down Bo as well as Kaiser. Locked in place, takes a punch to the face, and immediately starts to back out. I just keep holding my breath because these teams are so willing to fight, Dagda.
And it's even the case that Perkz can cut people off as well, so you actually have to be careful as XL how you want to fight this. But Photon,
look at the minimap, look at the minimap. Weaver's Wall brings Perkz to the fray. Photon will get the flash from Odo. It was further backup in that river, but nothing more comes of it. And I think more importantly here, Vitality have clawed back that gold difference, and they are finding skirmishes in their comp's favor.
XL, though, because they didn't full commit to top, have the push in mid. They have position on the dragon that's about to spawn in 8 seconds as well. So even though Vitality are the ones trying to make the play, I think it benefits XL in the long run as long as they can move immediately in towards the dragon.
All right, Targamas right now stepping forward. The dragon has been started. It does look like Bo as well as Neon could contest. Vision cleared out here. XL aware of the positioning. As 3 members step forward. Ultra Shock Laser not going to find a target, and this time around, sheer force of numbers from XL allows them to secure the second dragon of the game. It's one more of those tools that will help unlock a potential victory. But that advantage, that lead, it's not maybe as large as XL would have wanted, but I really do like the options their composition has once we move into this mid-game period.
I think the biggest win for them is when you actually... Hold on to this, there we go. When you actually start to look at those side lane towers, right? 3 turret plates gone on top. You've got 2 gone on the bottom side as well. The goal of XL is, okay, we want to buy as much time as when we don't have to team fight and we can play for sides and get down towers. So, goal number 1 already secured. You got 2 dragons. That's a 10-minute buffer you've guaranteed for yourselves where you don't have to fight for dragons. Then you start to look at their side lanes. Well, we've already got 2 of those very close to going down. So as long as they can continue to play for that, and they can use Targamas now to play for the Rift Tower that's about to spawn, that's where they continue to balloon their success.
I'm going to give some credit here to Xerxe. 2-0-1 on the Wukong. Needed to step up and try to shut down Bo, who has been a standout performer throughout the course of winter. You can see Bo's stats on your screen. 2nd at goal difference, 3rd for CSD. I think the impact that he has in games is not always covered by the statistics, but this time around has been invaded and pushed and kind of held a little bit at arm's length.
Yeah, it's funny, we've kind of got to see all the versions of both. Mad Dog on a leash is what we called him back in the LPL. He got unleashed coming into the LEC, and now they're trying to put the dog in the corner every time he comes onto the stage in week 3. We'll have to see if XL can continue to do it, because Bo's here.
Bo is there, hops over the wall, gets caught by all the CC, and all of a sudden will be dropped. But Xerxe's decoy gets taken out. Here comes Photon. He's got the big barrel, locks everyone against the wall, and Neon is firing off those bursts. Is going to be pinned inside thanks to that wall, and Vetheo now on the front line looking to find a kill into Photon, but he can't do so. Everybody's low. Neon's trying to chase with the help of Yuumi, sidesteps the piercing arrow, not going to get skewered, and Patrik will pop the shield. Finally taken out by Neon, and XL are routed. They are running for their lives, and the chase potential is huge. Neon flashes forward, the stun comes out from Odo as a stopwatch buys some time for Perkz. He can't find another. Neon's looking to pick up the 2nd and 3rd kills here as Vetheo's caught between a rock and a hard place. Taken out by Neon on the killing spree, and it's not done yet. Multiple members of XL still being chased down as Odo's going to leap his way to safety, and Photon with the backup on the minions looking at that tower.
Targamas has been a good friend there, giving Odo the way out of that one, and now Vitality positioning on towards the Rift Tower. Xerxe is here, no flash to get out of the pit though, so we are having a split on objectives. The top side belongs to Vitality, the bot side to XL right now.
And the team fights to Vitality, managing to come out on top. That was very, very close, because 3 or 4 members on both sides of the Rift were dropped to 20-30%. And just that additional range and movement, I think, helping Vitality out.
I think the fact that Bo gets caught here sets up Xerxe really well. Again, Xerxe don't really want to full-on fight into what Vitality are bringing. You can see Perkz. The fact you can throw down this Unraveled Earth makes it very difficult for the Xerxe comp to find fights, to set them up. And as long as Photon comes in here with Neon, sets up beautifully, but Targamas.
There is the dunker down, cease and desist. Vitality able to find an easy pick, the second death for Targamas. It's a minute and a half until the next dragon. I do want to look at how the ward line is challenged and whether or not Vitality are going to contest for this one.
I mean, Vitality definitely need to. The fact you have the Rift Herald, you can use that to start to push in, but I think the bigger problem is actually on Xerxe's side. This is a composition that thrives off of having the tempo advantage. You controlling the waves, you're the one pushing out. So now Odo needs to look for picks to try and remove that, but easily Neon dodges that.
There's so many members of Vitality backing him up, and Perkz stepping forward will be able to throw the wall down, not going to be able to catch anyone, but the tower will be secured, so that equals it out at 1-1. And more importantly, you're now starting to see how that Taliyah can impact any of these engages.
And it's only going to get worse as that vision line creeps forward, right? Bot lane tower down. Okay, let's see if we can start to creep that vision forward as Vitality into the XL side. Then you have Perkz push that side lane and immediately try and use that Weaver's Wall in towards mid. Now you secure mid tower. You still have that Rift Herald. So there's plays that you can set up for Vitality. And this is where XL, you can see them hunting for picks. They're trying to slow the advantages Vitality are picking up here.
Dagda, talk to me about these team fights. We're 18 minutes in, looking likely to be a dragon fight here. And it feels like XL have got some form of control, but they will have to deal with the Rift Herald in the mid lane. Do you favor how well Vitality can just single targets out?
I favor a 4-kill Zeri. That's exactly what I favor. In a front-to-back fight, that is exactly what they need. Bo just trying to keep XL at bay. They actually don't care about the dragons. They're just immediately going to turn towards taking another turret here.
I mean, this will be the third of the game. Shelly's going to get charged up and will take out this inner turret. Vitality have shown, I think it might be fair to say they've shown a priority to taking down towers, getting more of the rift open, then focusing the dragons, and that may pay off as Odo cannot get over the wall. He's held in place, he's shoved backwards, finally does flash as the old shock laser will not be enough damage to kill him, and Odo survives. The next target will be Targamas, as he will be unable to skewer anyone, but a number of abilities thrown at Odo, and he escapes.
I mean, everyone on Vitality looks like they're trying to go down. Patrik was in that bot side, but he's now reset. Xerxe maybe trying to see if he can find a pick or find the stragglers from Vitality with Targamas here.
His flash just became available. Cyclone 2 stepped over the ward, so Vitality had that little bit of information. They are 500 gold up, and they got themselves in a position where they have to challenge for this next dragon. 3 already secured for XL, but I think the way the last few fights have played out, you're starting to see how this front line, the engage tools, and more importantly for me, just the mobility that Vitality have on hand is allowing them to literally run circles around XL.
And the thing is, XL have a lot of mobility. It's just that Perkz is great at shutting that down with the Unraveled Earth. You just throw it down in a team fight, you play for some of these choke points, and you can see there's just no hope for XL to actually get through. You can see, I mean, they're fighting just off of Bar Pit there. There was that one little choke, and it was Zeri and Taliyah versus the world, and they were holding strong. So for XL, it's a case of trying to get different angles, trying to see if you can get creative with your picks, but also how you try and play side lanes. I like that they're kind of going, okay, let's get Vetheo down in the side lane, let's try and create some pressure. We got pressure in mid as well, as Vitality have to try and hold on to top side, and they're trying to force Neon away from being able to get back towards this mid turret.
And I guess when you go back to draft, that Taliyah pick end up helping here because of the fact that 131 is one of the avenues that XL can use. They have to factor in where can Perkz come from, what backup does he have available, and at least as the map has opened up, we've seen those Weaver's walls, preventing engages on the objectives, trying to cut off the escapes. And for XL, it now becomes even more difficult. 4 towers to 3, 2.5 minutes till the next dragon, and there's not a lot of vision on the map, really, for either side. So I would anticipate them trying to push that vision line deeper and then making a play.
Yeah, I think what we'll see is Vitality trying to play for the next Dragon, but for Xerxe, you don't actually play for Dragon, you play around the Baron. And that's why we're seeing a lot of vision invested by Xerxe onto this top side. What you want to do is drag Vitality into your vision. So when they actually try to set up right, all you're going to do is basically have all this vision control in here, which means if you're Vitality, you have to go completely in blind, and suddenly that's where you can find these picks, you can find these opportunities to get Xerxe in on a flank, set up with Odoamne, and it makes it very, very difficult for Vitality then to both go for Dragon and control Baron and keep pressure onto their top tier 2 as well.
And that means Xerxe may only have 1 or 2 sort of decisions that they have to execute well. If they manage to push Vitality towards one objective and make a play for that Baron, which, by the way, look at all of these wards. Xerxe are either setting up, or they want to make a play, or they're just terrified that it's going to get burned down. The minute and a half to go, now all of a sudden, Vitality challenging this vision. Let's look through summoner spells. Teleport's available on both sides of the rift. Flashes available for most, except Bo right now, and Odo as well. So that could be impactful, whether or not Bo is able to jump onto either Vetheo or Patrik on the back line. But neither team initially setting up with those mid towers down. Dagda, it's Vitality. They're the ones making the first move here onto Odo.
I mean, great play from Photon here. No flash on Odo.
Get knocked backwards with that barrel. Perkz will now step forward. The rest of Xerxe making their way to the Baron pit. Do they try to rush this down? Thank you, observers. We've got the split screen. Perkz is pulled backwards. Odo has that teleport available to him, remember? The rest of Vitality now making their way up. Photon's TP did not result in a kill, did not result in an advantage on the summoner spells. And with 30 seconds until the Dragons split focus, split objectives.
And I think that was Vitality basically trying to make that play so it would always be in their favor, right? If you then have all the members of Xerxe up at the Baron area, you can then have a 4 versus 4 scenario while you end up with Photon still pushing bot side, maybe soloing out the Dragon. But because they don't get the pick, now it's Xerxe who have that advantage.
They're gonna start this fight. Vetheo, or rather Odoamne, he arrives. That's a dunk down onto Patrik. May need to flash away to safety. Gets back up from Odo, and Patrik picks up the kill onto Bo. But Perkz and Neon are very untouched. Vetheo still has the Realm Warp available to him, as does Targamas' death from below. 4 versus 5. Look at the side lane. Xerxe can jump in from behind with that Cyclone Dagda.
And they have no idea. He's going to try and go in, but there goes.
Look at the damage. Neon engages and gets blown up. Xerxe comes in the back and manages to pick up another 2 more kills for Xerxe. The soul for Xerxe. Dagda, they might go for Baron as well.
And this could be the upset. This could be the one where Xerxe deny Vitality their first place. Targamas will go directly in, and they are looking to command the last game of the regular split.
This is such a big advantage. Xerxe get the soul, they get the Baron. They have a gigantic lead, and now they really have all of the tools necessary to play those side lanes.
And that's where it becomes so terrifying. Photon isn't really in a position where he can clear out against Odoamne. Vetheo is so easy able to realm warp. Now, Perkz can't match him, but it really is about setting up Odoamne for those side lanes. You can even see the build that he's gone, right? Getting the Divine Sunder, the Black Cleaver. He set up for actually going for this fight against Photon instead of going for like a Zhonya's Hourglass early, where he could actually try and play more for the team fights.
Oh, this is such an interesting position to be in. If you are watching at home, reminder, if Xerxe pick up this win, it'll mean Mad Lions and SK take 1st and 2nd respectively. Vitality will drop down to 3rd. That means Mad Lions and SK will be able to pick their round 1 opponents in the group stage. For Xerxe, though, they still need to finish this game out. They've got now pressure in this bottom lane. Vetheo shoving in middle. He's level 16 to Perkz' level 14, but has no Realm Warp and no TP, Dagda, as those minions are now cleared out.
Perkz matching Vetheo's push, but Xerxe, they've got the quicker route because they own the jungle, and they might own Perkz' life in a second. He does spot it out and will back away.
Targamas still going fishing. Not going to find the target, but pressure in so many lanes. Volvo, the focus pulls Vitality away from bottom. All of a sudden, they re-engage down. Odo gets pulled backwards, gets dunked down from the cease and desist. He's got Kaiser along for the ride, but he's taken out. Once again, Odo finds another stun. 2 members down from Vitality. Odoamne buys some time going golden, but here comes Neon as well as Perkz. They've immediately applied with 2 of their own. A Bone Skewer buys a little bit of time, but Perkz is able to survive along with the rest of Vitality. It's now a 2 versus 2. Make that 3 as all of a sudden the Skewer comes out. Perkz is in trouble. He's taken down. Photon gets the body slam. These fights are insane. Xerxe is now running away as Vetheo may be under some threat. Does Neon chase with the spark? The answer is no.
The Immortal Shield Bow was clutch for Neon. The Xerxe was clutch for Vetheo. And just about both teams will be able to hold on. But, I mean, this here, Photon tries to get the body slam on before Odo can leap away, but just messes up the Counter-Strike timing. And as this play comes forward, this all relies on Perkz and Neon getting into this fight. But keep your eyes on Vetheo. He went the wrong way. The fight goes forward. Vetheo's trapped behind the turret, which is why it takes him so long to get in. Neon, though, is in trouble.
Neon, take it out! Targamas and Vetheo combo together. Using that Realm Warp, they take him down for the second time. Fantastic damage dealt in that previous team fight. And despite things looking a little hairy, Xerxe still maintain the lead. They still maintain control. But you can see just how scary it is if you don't get that Zeri under control.
And this is what a lot of people were hoping to see from Xerxe throughout the whole split. The fact that they're playing well around their vision, playing for picks, using their waves correctly. This is what Xerxe are actually capable of. And Vitality, I think we're caught completely unaware by this. You can see Xerxe hovering up towards this top side now. They got that bot tier 2. Now it's the top tier 2 that's on the cards. And also establishing vision for that Baron in 2.5 minutes.
2.7k ahead of his opposition. That's Targamas on the Pyke. 2.5 items completed already. Started great. Mid-game could have landed a few more hooks, but ultimately, him and the rest of Xerxe are now in a position to pull off a gigantic upset. Odoamne will be the target of that cease and desist. Is going to leap away as the teleport is being channeled. Vetheo has arrived and the rest of Vitality now inside their jungle. What is there to play for? 1:45 for Elder, 2 minutes for Baron.
They already got the mini objective. Getting TPs out of Xerxe is what Vitality want to do. Again, stopping Xerxe from being able to play the map, play and put a threat onto that bottom tier inhibitor turret. The fact that you have Odo now as the sole TP makes things a little bit easier for Vitality, who still have 2 up for themselves.
Is this enough of a lead for Xerxe to play out the game? Because the one thing that is just ringing in the back of my head, if Xerxe commit to the 1-3-1 or a 4-1, the Vi and the Taliyah can very quickly kill 1 or 2 of those members before you can regroup as a team. So you've got to be very, very careful with how you move around the rift.
Yeah, I think for Xerxe, you have to make sure that you're finding picks that are always in your favor. Because even look at the items that are completed, right? Perkz now on 3 items with the Void Staff. Neon has managed to finish that Infinity Edge. The late game carries for Vitality are now online. So for Xerxe, this is the most dangerous part of the game. Yes, you've got an advantage for Patrik and he's got that GA, he's got his 4 items, but in a straight up fight, you will lose unless you're setting it up favorably. And at the moment, with the vision being cleared out, Vitality pushing back Xerxe, they now need to reset up that vision for the Elder Dragon in 30 seconds.
Can I ask observers to take a look at Xerxe's vision for now, starting to push forward that line. Vitality, on the other hand, they're going to be stepping into the darkness. 16 seconds before the Elder, 30 seconds before the Baron, and it's getting very, very scary. Looking at flashes, Neon does not have his up, whereas Patrik does. Dagda, let's take a look at the starting here. Xerxe in the river first.
You got Neon set up behind Bow. Photon clearing out mid waves. They've managed to deal with the side wave pressure, but the Elder Dragon has already restarted.
It's going low! It's going low! Down to 4,000! Who's gonna pick this one up? As inside the barrel! It's such a win! Vitality and Perkz steal the Elder Dragon, and the death lasers from above may be what they need. Targamas is looking for Neon and will find that kill, but Photon and Perkz, with the help of Kaiser, are trying to do more. That's the GA being popped, as all of a sudden now, Kaiser's looking to come right back. Targamas cannot impact the fight, and Perkz and Photon will look like they can close this one out. How the hell did they steal the Elder? Now Vetheo and Perkz continue to trade back and forth, throwing out the minefield. Realm Warp is up, and Vetheo's caught on the wrong side of the rift, dealing with that Elder. Look at that that white line on the HP bar. Once you go below it, you get bursted down. Vetheo will potentially escape with that movement speed for now. No, he's not done. He's not done. The barrel, and the laser Dagda.
From downtown, Photon will take a video, but these are games Vitality has no right winning. Yesterday against BDS, they managed to barely take a victory from the jaws of defeat, and now in what has been the most bizarre turn of events, stealing the Elder Dragon with Perkz. I don't even know how Perkz, I didn't even see Perkz get in here.
I am exhausted, confused, perplexed. Look at that HP, 1800. Just all of the burst, and ultimately it's Perkz that picks it up. We jump right back into the action. Baron has now been started off by Vitality. Targamas will be dove on by the cease and desist. Perkz fires out the wall, cutting off the retreat. 2 members dead for Xerxe. But Vetheo does have that teleport up. He's spawning in 5 seconds.
I mean, you got Odo mid as well. This can't really be fought, though. You still have the Elder Dragon up. You're just going to look at Odo. He's just going to go for the base instead. But Vitality, with those imperilled recalls, should be able to make it back in time.
Man, all of a sudden, Baron buff now on Vitality. They can control and try to slow down any of that potential side lane pressure. Photon throws out the barrel. It pins Patrik against the wall. No flash, no heal for him. And it's Vitality back on the offensive, back in control, and pushing into the inhibitors.
I mean, Odo's just trying to trade, see what he can do. Has a good amount of damage with the Divine Sunder, so you can see Vitality don't want to try and go forward. Can Xerxe get the stragglers, though? Neon is still there, but should be able to escape away.
They do escape. They defend their own inhibitor turrets. And all of a sudden, Vitality get themselves a lifeline. The Elder Dragon steal puts them back in contention. The gold is bang on even. They're still playing into that soul. Don't forget that fact. But I think that is going to give them a ton of confidence. And I think more importantly, a lot of time, a lot of items being secured here for this Zeri.
A lot of control for Vitality as well. The fact they have the Baron buff means they get to push in these side lanes. Vitality, as they start to step in, Xerxe going to try and catch them.
Bo is jumped on. Is going to use that blast cone. Gets caught up once again. Now will be forced to resurrect as Kaiser has thrown up the jewels, and the damage is enormous as Photon and Neon AoE Xerxe down. That burst damage was gigantic.
Photon says, points on me tonight, lads, when we take first place, because that barrel destroyed Xerxe. Vetheo trying his best to see if he can clear out these waves in mid, but it's the bot wave you have to be careful of.
How much of a base race do Xerxe commit to? They're still dealing with those Baron-empowered minions, pushing the wave into the tower mid. Multiple members of Vitality will push this bottom lane. They should have enough damage to chunk out the tower. Sticking around for the inhibitor. 25 seconds for Odo, 20 seconds for Patrik. Inhibitor in back is probably the call.
Vetheo did get the recall off. Photon was hunting for him, so it means there's too many members of Xerxe in the base. Photon can't join them, so they will back away. As you say, 2 minutes until the Elder Dragon. Vision hasn't actually been set up for Vitality, so the fight that we just saw may happen again as Vitality try and get that Vision down and Xerxe try to punish with these picks.
I mean, I can't believe how much time was bought, but look at this. Vetheo and Targamas arriving just a little late, and Photon and Neon, when they combo those ultimates, just melting everyone.
Perkz actually managed to knock Patrik over the wall into all the damage as soon as Photon came around the corner. So don't think it was exactly intentional, but definitely worked out in favor of Vitality there.
Another potential fight on the horizon. Photon should be able to just pick off Targamas, and he does. Flash E are instantly taken down. Now 4 members of Xerxe, they still have to defend. Multiple Vitality members in this middle lane. They're all grouped up. Baron and Part Minions still on their side. How fancy do they feel? How aggressive are they? Dagda, they might be looking at this Nexus.
Baron is gone, though. It just timed out. So Xerxe with Patrik, can they clear these waves?
They're trying to, really trying to. Patrik using those piercing arrows, cleared out many of the minions. Supers are a little while away from that bottom lane. Xerxe has flash available to him. And Vitality, they're sticking around. They're sticking around.
I don't think Vitality want to go for the end. They want to keep Xerxe in their base. Look at when Elder Dragon's up. It's in 30 seconds. As long as they keep Xerxe pushed underneath these towers, they can't contest.
Targamas is alive. He's just respawned. Xerxe and Odo, can they find an angle? Vetheo, level 18 with the Realm Orb available. They're hunting. They're looking for bees to take down. Vitality, they've managed to regroup once again. Vetheo this time under a little bit of threat. And they're just dancing on the edge of engage range.
The vision for Xerxe is being clutch here. They've got 2 just by red buff, which means they can spot out that Vitality haven't actually gone into the pit. So it's Vitality thinking they're baiting, but these little wards doing so much for Xerxe.
Seismic shove once again! This time it catches Targamas as Neon secures the kill yet again. 5 versus 4. Elder Dragon is up. Dagda and Vitality, they've bought the time. They did not concede any deaths. And now they are looking to set up for the objective. Photon's got the ult. Photon's got the ult. Photon, where is the ult? He's holding on to it for now. Finally throws it backwards into the waiting arms of Bo. Patrik stays alive just a few seconds longer thanks to the shield bomb. And the re-engage from Xerxe. It forces Neon to buy some time in the stopwatch. Flashes away, uses the ultimate, stays alive. Neon is now looking to close things out here for Vitality. Looking to shut down Xerxe. Looking to take the #1 seed.
The creeps are in the base. Vetheo, you need to get away or they'll end the game. Round war begin. Vetheo is trying his best to be an escape artist, and maybe, just maybe, he can hold on with Targamas, but I mean, there's so little left. Vitality will turn towards the Elder.
What is this game? Xerxe and Vitality trading back and forth. We have a very brief moment, and it does look like Vitality are in a position to finish this one off. I want to highlight some of their positions. The first time in a long time in a place to secure the #1 seed. Elder Dragon picked up once more. Teleports thrown in. It might be too little. It might be too late.
What? Vetheo! How? Vetheo, that was insane!
Where did that damage come from? All of a sudden, Vetheo destroys Vitality. What can they do with this? I don't know if they can push far enough in the next 50 seconds.
Vetheo, that was the play! 3 members gone with the Elder. Perkz and Neon, the 2 carries, don't have that buff anymore. That is huge for Xerxe, and that could actually define us.
Look at the times. Look at the times. 30 seconds for 3 members. Xerxe turn their attention to the Baron. Photon and Bo starting to clear out some of this vision. And it is not over yet. Xerxe are trying to deny a Vitality that first seed, trying to do it in the most dramatic and entertaining way possible.
And trying to do themselves proud as well. This is an Xerxe that has been pushed back, has been told that they're not able to stand toe-to-toe with what the LEC has to offer this split, but this game is telling a very different story. Vetheo is having the game of a lifetime here. He looks so incredibly good. This is the Vetheo we expect to see from Summer. We're getting to see what this team could have been. It just wish it could have been that little bit earlier.
Of course, and right now, they still have the ability to impact those group stages. And we take a look at the regrouping. All right, teleports available for Odo as well as Photon. Multiple members of Vitality pushing forward. A number of Xerxe wards in the north side of the river. Whereas Vitality have got some vision in the south. I think we're just going to set up for one more big brawl. If either team is able to win it cleanly, they could just run away with the game. But I think the inhibitors being down still in that middle lane is giving Vitality a small edge in pushing this wave forward.
Yeah, they're still just going to try and play this safe, though. Xerxe can't really engage, though, because you still have some members with the Elder buff on Vitality, and even just Photon's AoE damage is very tough to deal with. So Xerxe just trying to buy time now, starting to push out as a 5-man unit, trying to keep Vitality out of their base.
Dagda, let's take a look at the potential setup here. Xerxe barreling forward. Chain of Corruption is available there for Patrik. I keep my eyes on him. He still has flash up. Neon does not. And all of a sudden, they're going to disengage.
But I want you to look at Xerxe's vision right now. They have it everywhere on this top side. They're trying to find these flanks. And even now, the fact that Vitality have been pushed back towards their own base, that leaves less of those opportunities to actually spot out where Xerxe are coming from. Inhibitor mid lane has respawned, and Xerxe now, the pressure's off. It's coming back to that even enough state where it comes down to how you execute in the moment.
And the only big objectives will be that Elder Dragon in another 3 minutes. The previous one, despite being secured, remembers multiple of them dying instantly. Xerxe using the Fog of War to their advantage. Stepping forward, and I really like how the observers are showing the limited information Vitality have available to them. Photon's flash is up, he's got that big barrel. Will there be a juicy target? Because Odo's alone in that middle lane.
2 GAs available for Vitality, Neon and Bo. They can play this very far forward, and it makes it very tough for Targamas to really get value out of this ultimate. So for XL, it's about trying to again see if you can find these picks, play off in the fog of war. But if Vitality can find these straight up fights, there is an opportunity for them to try and close it out.
I mean, the fact that GAs are up, as well as the stopwatch and Hourglass, it really is beneficial against the likes of Vi. They can just shut somebody down. But I will say, if XL group up, we've seen the impact that the Explosive Cask as well as that Lightning Crash from Zeri can do, and then combined, obviously, with the AoE from Taliyah. So XL blew this one pretty well. They split up until 1-4. They allowed Odo to push multiple waves. He still has his TP. Vetheo is now back up. And I think we're just going to set up for another Elder Dragon fight here, Dagda.
Oh, I don't know if my heart can take it. This has been such a tense game. I mean, Vitality on the edge of taking that first position, but XL have been doing everything to try and shut them down. And again, the vision line for XL is spectacular. All covering that bottom side of the map, making sure that Vitality have to work to get into the Dragon Pit.
Okay, Berlin, I'm going to ask one more time. Who thinks that Vitality will win? That is much quieter than earlier. Berlin, who thinks that XL will win? That is an overwhelming churn of events. We're a minute and 10 seconds from this Elder. Dagda, let's look at the minimap. Vision is now being challenged as Vitality have grouped up. Odo is in the top lane, TP available to him. So if the trigger's pulled, he may be just a little bit late.
The thing is, though, Odo has managed to pick up the Force of Nature. He is very strong in a 1v1 scenario against both Perkz and Photon. So even having Vetheo in behind them, I think this is where they're just going to try and very quickly double up, catch one of the members of the solo laners of Vitality out as they think they're in a 1v1, but they're not even close.
What if XL try to do some shenanigans? What if they don't look for the fight, instead just try to play the base? Odo is going to be able to hammer away those towers. And there's so many wards in that red buff area of Vitality's jungle. So Odo and Vetheo can just TP in. That's before you even factor in the potential Realm Warp. They're starting to group up. 20 seconds till Elder.
Yeah, the shenaniganery's at an all-time high, though. XL want to see if they can get those picks. They're not going to be able to find them on top side, so now they got to go for the Dragon. So now we got to face the 5v5. And XL want to see if they can get on towards Neon, but backing away.
Realm Warp is still available here as Vetheo starts to channel.
Oh, they're going!
They're going into the base! They're going into the base! XL looking to secure the inhibitor, and they do. Continuing to push forward. Weaver's wall will lock XL inside of Vitality's territory. Channeling up on that Q. Bo looks for the engage. Cease and desist! Slams down Xerxe. He will buy some time thanks to that GA. Neon remains untouched as Targamas is looking for it. All of a sudden, with Vetheo down, they trade back onto Perkz. 1-for-1. Neon is now the target of Patrik. The Void Shield Bow keeps him alive, but Neon needs to find more kills. 2 members of Vitality are down. And Targamas finds the skewer, finds the stun, but Neon stays alive. All of a sudden, it's XL continuing this pressure. It's a 4 versus 2 for now. Make that 3 as Kaiser is still alive. XL, they get the inhib, they get the fight.
They get the Elder.
Oh.
They get to back away out of this. That fight was so close to going in favor of Vitality. Photon played it incredibly well, but XL just about come out on the far side. And now Vitality have to try and make a re-entrance. Bo doesn't have flash, doesn't have smite. This will be a miracle again.
There is no ways that he can steal this again. Surely not. Surely not. Body block interrupted. Elder secured for XL. Neon is now caught in place. The final chapter does some work. Bursting fire after one another. 2 GAs popped. Neon and Kaiser versus the world. The Ultra Shock Laser will not find its target, and we are approaching the longest game of winter. It was XL versus BDS at 46 minutes. And it feels like this will blow past that. 46-13. And more importantly here, if XL win this game, Vitality lose that first seed.
This fight was just barely defined by inches. The fact that you end up with stopwatch coming through into Perkz with a good ultimate onto Patrik, they set up a bow to come back, but watch Photon, ultimate on, pops the Xerxe onto Vetheo, flash in, kills the Ryze, but the problem was, because Perkz had to set up the fight, he's now pushed off onto the side. Neon tries to make the hero plays, but there's too much damage coming from Excel's side of things.
They have themselves the Elder. They have also picked up the Baron. And they are now pushing once again into Vitality. All 5 members are standing. They've got supers already pushing through the middle lane. And it does look like that's a teleport being channeled as Odo will regroup with the rest of the team. Xerxe looking to set up this final siege.
Xerxe smell blood in the water with the Elder, with the Baron. They know the strength they have. Xerxe just going to start to play this around their cannon minions. Vitality are so short range. It's so hard to clear out these caster minions.
And of course, all of their engage tools relatively easy to answer. Those GAs are on cooldown though. That is integral. If Neon is able to get activated. Got the available of that lightning crash. The barrel actually sends Patrik away, not closer. Body slam is going to be used defensively. 2 inhibitors are down. Xerxe using that range, using that poke to their advantage, daring Vitality to start the fight.
I mean, you nearly have that Elder Dragon gone that's just waiting for the last few ticks, but Vitality, they're losing space, they're losing towers.
They're definitely losing control. That is a skewer onto Perkz. Kaiser jumps forward with you and me. The Lost Chapter will simply not be enough, but all of a sudden Odo forced to jump away defensively. Perkz and Neon have got the damage despite losing Bo. Super minions will become a problem shortly, so Vitality have to deal with them. Vetheo looking, waiting for either that bone skewer or something to catch and hold somebody in place. Standing with those Baron empowered minions and Xerxe. Are they backing away for now?
The biggest problem is that you don't have bot wave pushing in for Xerxe, so they didn't actually have enough to spread Vitality thin. Vitality could hold on to both one of their Nexus turrets on top side. That is just to get rid of the TP on Perkz, so he has access to his flash again. I'm pretty sure there it is. So it did look a little bit funky, but this is going to be key. Now that you have that flashback again, we got to see how far Perkz can play forward. The GAs coming back up for Vitality. This is going to be another barn burner of a fight.
And of course, crucially, that Elder Dragon buff is now timed out. I wasn't 100% paying attention to the timing on the base defense. And Vitality did not want to step forward into that one. Baron is still up for a little while longer. The middle inhibitor will be spawning here for Vitality and SK and Mad Lions. If Xerxe win, this game will be your number 1 and number 2 seeds. SK potentially at the top of the table, but Vitality, they're not done yet. The flash forward from Bo cannot get into range for Vetheo, but he's forced to flash away himself because the rest of the members are stepping forward. They at least get themselves that summoner spell, but not a lot more.
Oh, hold me, Trevor. I'm not ready for this. Vitality are just barely holding on. Vetheo almost has a TP up when available. If Vitality are going to find a moment, this is the one before Vetheo can come out, but they have no vision. They have no idea where anyone is, and they also have Neon who has to clear these waves on top side.
10 seconds, 8 seconds for that teleport from Vetheo. Patrick's flash has just become available. Vetheo will be guiding those minions in the middle lane. 1 minute 40 until the next Elder. And you know what? Give me another Elder fight. That's what I want from these teams. So does Berlin, apparently, and Xerxe looking for picks, looking for that opportunistic kill. And I have no idea where they are, still just waiting in the wings.
I mean, you know it's getting to late game when your supports are starting to finish off all their items as well. This has been absolutely insane. The fact that Targamas, though, has managed to get that upgrade on the support ward item, I can't remember the name of it because I so rarely see it, actually gives them a lot of options to have extra wards on the map, get the pink wards down as well, and just make it so difficult for Vitality to try and contest. This is the 3rd Elder Dragon now, where Vitality have been pushed in their base and can't get vision on the objective.
Xerxe just hiding in the darkness. They're just waiting for Vitality to step forward. The skewer misses, but the Chain of Corruption did tag, and it was automatically, or it was removed thanks to Mikhail's blessing. 45 seconds until this dragon spawns. Xerxe just holding Vitality in their base. And frankly, I think we're gonna have that fight, but can Vitality navigate through the darkness without being picked off? Where is Xerxe setting up for the fights?
I mean, that's why Vitality taking the slow, Photon moving forward. He has the stop, or the Stanyas if he needs to, but Vitality just trying to group. They're trying to make sure they can't lose out. Perkz clearing bot side because he has the Weaver's Wall to quickly separate these fights.
And I'm going to ask the observers to stay on full vision for the next few moments. The surprises are great, but we need to see how this fight starts. XL are trying to look for some creative angles. They've split up multiple times. Targamas south, Vetheo north, but Vitality may want to pull the trigger. Weaver's wall is down, hopped off. Patrik is the target. Cease and desist forward. Base race may be on the cards here, as all of a sudden Vetheo is teleported to the top lane. Patrik may be left for dead as Vitality step all the way forward into the face. But XL have got the damage. Xerxe has got the time. Neon stays alive. The shield comes up. Veto's inside the base and Neon stays alive. Neon finally gets taken. It's going to be Bo as well as Kaiser trying to interrupt. And thanks to the GA, Neon comes back up. Vetheo has taken out the inhibitors and the base is still alive.
Patrik flashed into Odo's TP. He brought Bo with him. Both TPs were being used in the top wave, but it got denied. Photon matches Vetheo. The fight lives on, and the dragon is still here.
This is the longest game of the year in Europe. And right now, the Elder Dragon is being stepped forward. Vetheo is going to continue to apply pressure. The top lane inhibitor is his focus. Xerxe's decoy will take a couple of shots there from Neon. But here comes Kaiser. The chapter's available and looking for that CC. While that is happening, what's in the Elder Dragon pit? Now Bo steps forward. The base is still under threat. Vetheo hasn't left. Dagda, this is just fighting on all fronts.
Photon, though, does manage to get the ult onto Vetheo. He's now going to struggle with the waves, though. Vetheo can get so much damage. Vitality need to back, but they're being chased off.
Then, of course, if they back and they leave too much time, the Elder Dragon is available for XL. 100,000 gold secured for XL. They're setting up around the Elder. The supers have been dealt with for now. There are no teleports or realm warps available for XL.
Xerxe is resetting, though. XL don't want to try and push this forward. Photon has taken a breathing in the base as well, and you need to deal with these waves as Vitality. So they will take a breather. They will take a stop between the rounds. But we look at all of our items. GA burnt onto Neon means that he will be the focus for Xerxe, who has an ult in just a moment's time.
5 seconds for the Cyclone. Stood on top of the ward. The skewer backwards. The counter-strike. The chapter is now used, and that will push XL away. Vetheo, he's caught out. He's caught out. I don't think XL can arrive in time. The seismic shot pulls him backwards. Vitality have a numbers advantage as they step into the river. Super minions are inside their base. They're conceding Elder. It's a 68-second death timer, and they want supers of their own.
XL ran to try and steal the Elder, so Vitality are saying, cool, Elder for base, bro, we'll go for this.
Odoamne leaps forward, counter-strike into the hourglass. No one else from XL backs him up. There's no chain of corruption. Super minions are on side the base of Vitality. They're now pushing forward. I don't think Vitality can get there in time.
Targamas has cut the wave. Targamas has cut the wave. This is it.
This is going to be the final push. Vitality pushing on the Nexus turret. They will look to take it down as Patrik is the last man standing. GA will be popped. Perkz is trying to kill Xerxe. The Nexus is being focused by Bo and by Photon, and I think they've done it. Vitality have won the regular season. What? Finally! Oh. Vitality are your #1 seed.
Easiest path to the #1 seed I think I've ever seen in the LEC.
That's insanity.
Perkz is nearly dead on stage as well.
Nymaera, tag out for me. Hey, have you got a second?
My God.
I need to get ready for the draw show and take a second. So Dagda, I'm going to leave you be and steal Nymaera for 2 seconds to come say hi and celebrate that game.
Oh my word.
I mean, what do you say? I mean, as someone who is separate, what
you say,
held all the questions?
I think I can echo most of the crowd, most of Berlin. It is mostly expletives. That is such a tug of war. I did feel like it was just blink and you miss it, and Vetheo gets caught, game's over.
I mean, I love how well Vitality have been able to use this point-and-click CC from Bo. We saw it again yesterday where they're so quick to just turn on a dime. You take that one step too far, Bo immediately goes in and they capitalize, but that was a hard-fought battle.
It was, and it's kind of bittersweet again, because again, this match had lower stakes than much of the rest of the day. It ended up being by far the most bagger of them, somehow, some way. But you got to feel for everyone on stage. After you come out of a victory or a loss like that, it takes a hell of a lot out of you.
I will say, at least on XL's side, though, the fact they get to bow out in style, I think, meant a lot to these guys. They didn't pick up the win in the end, but the fact that they're able to sit there and say, hey, you know what? We did ourselves proud. Vetheo had a fantastic game. Some of these players in the Ryze were absolutely brilliant. Targamas looked fantastic in the Pyke. I think there was so many of these guys where at least getting to see glimpses of that individual performance to show that these guys still are top caliber players will mean a huge amount.
And we had 2 players with over 500 CS in that game. We haven't seen that since the Jin Air days. Vetheo being one of them, 510, and then Neon with 501, just cresting that half a millennium. I don't know what the 1,000 is, because it's like a ton in cricket, right? But I don't know what we do with that here, but either way, that went the full distance. But like, I don't even think we've seen anything globally to this extent so far.
No, I mean, that was absolutely insane. I mean, your player of the games for your LEC Twitter are going to be Photon, Perkz, and Neon, but honestly, I have absolutely no idea how the hell you're supposed to vote for any of that game.
Vote with your heart, I think, in that one. I think you vote with your heart, because some really, really clutch plays from everyone. Particularly, it felt like with Neon being unkillable around some of those last fights, being the last 2 people. But Zeri, Yuumi, you only need those 2.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt impossible. I mean, Perkz as well, giving it all at that last fight where you were setting up so many of these opportunities to stop the engage that was coming through from XL. It just felt like everyone needed to have everything flying on all cylinders. But we're going to have a toss over to the draw show that's going to be coming up next. But we're going to give it to a quick break, and then we'll be back momentarily to show you how this one's going to pan out.